von der TI-Gemeinde selbst?
Ich sehe sie im Moment nicht.
Okay.
Die werden jetzt nicht hier sein.
This is more a hall for a bigger audience, coffee and also some rooms plus the other building more of the stuff or support. Yeah, yeah. Exzellenz, sehr geehrter Herr Oberbürgermeister, meine Damen und Herren, liebe Angehörige des Hauses, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Ich werde versuchen, sowohl es in Englisch als auch Deutsch zu machen, bitte aber nicht überprüfen, ich werde das nicht immer 1:1 übersetzen, sondern vielleicht etwas hingemessen. Meine Damen und Herren, herzlich willkommen in unserer Dialogveranstaltung, wo ein Kooperationspartner des Zentrums Innere Führung die Chance hat, sich einem größeren Kreis von Gästen vorzustellen, aber auch einem größeren Kreis der Angehörigen des Hauses, die nicht in jedem Lehrgang mit en Detail involviert sind. Exzellenz, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our special event on the occasion of the visit of the head of the Muslim Ahmadiyya Jama'at community. I hope my pronunciation was right. I see it. And a special welcome to our guest speaker, the head of this community, Hadhrat Masroor Hadhrat. And I think that is an applause wert. Excellent, thank you for your readiness to speak to us, to present your community. And in this context, I would like to welcome Mr. ABDULLAH WAGISHAUSER, ein deutscher Name, the German national representative of this community, and I hope also the head of the Tahir community of Koblenz is here now, Sheikh Zafar Mohammed. Welcome to all of you. And thank you especially to the Tahir community in Koblenz. Thank you for the good cooperation and partnership with us. Meine Damen und Herren, honored guests, please be content with me that I will welcome just a few of you publicly by name. Also, all of you should enjoy this. I would like to welcome Professor Joachim Hoffmann-Göttig, the Mayor of the city Koblenz, und ich danke für die Bereitschaft, nachher ein kurzes Grußwort zu sprechen. I would like to welcome Flottenarzt Dr. Heinz Bergmann für die militärischen Dienststellen hier, den leitenden Militärdekan Rainer Schnettger für die Kirchen und den leitenden Regierungsdirektor Michael Tiede für das Bundeswehrdienstleistungszentrum Koblenz. And once again, a warm welcome to all of you. We, the team of Zentrum Innere Führung, are very grateful that you accepted our invitation in such a large number. We are recognizing this as a sign of your friendship and your good relationship with us. Furthermore, I would like to thank the Friends of Zentrum Innere Führung, oder anders gesprochen, Dankeschön an den Freundeskreis Innere Führung, for supporting us with a small reception at the end of this discussion and presentation period. Meine Damen und Herren, gestatten Sie mir zwei Gedanken zum Thema interkulturelle Kompetenz und zu unserer Kooperation, bevor ich dann den heutigen Guest Speaker mit einigen wenigen Worten vorstellen werde. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to share some thoughts about the cooperation between the Center Innere Führung and the Tahir community of Koblenz. Intercultural competence is an essential goal in Germany as well as in the armed forces. The need for this emerged from the increased globalization, the integration into international affairs, and third, and the openness of our society, and of course the openness of our armed forces towards people from other countries, cultures, and religions. One example of this is the Advisory Board for Migration and Integration in Koblenz. And as I know, the goal of this board is to promote and to secure the chances of people from different nationalities, cultures, and religions living with equal rights in one community, we could say, in our city of Koblenz. And I think the mayor of Koblenz will say some words to this. The need for increased intercultural competence has impacted the Bundeswehr, the armed forces, due to increased diversity of personnel, due to multinational cooperations with our allies and partners worldwide, and due to operational mission in places occupied by different cultures and religions. Today, as well in the future, intercultural competence is an important and integral part of the comprehensive approach to develop a soldier's personality. Und obwohl das früher auch schon immer ein Thema war, haben wir dieses Thema in der Bundeswehr seit den Auslandseinsätzen, insbesondere seit Beginn 2010, besonders am Zentrum Innere Führung, forciert. Since 2010, the Center Innere Führung has been teaching additional courses for military leaders that are geared towards developing better improved awareness in these matters. An integral part of these courses is always the discussion of religion in general, as well as the discussion of Islam specifically. These course segments are led by military chaplains and, in this case, and representatives of the Tahir community of Koblenz. And this part includes, of course, an excursion to the Tahir Mosque in Koblenz. Today's event signifies our great cooperation with the local Tahir community of Koblenz, and I hope we can continue this good cooperation to the general goods, to the well-being of all of us. Meine Damen und Herren, ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to introduce our guest speaker, Seine Exzellenz Hadhrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad. Great grandson of the community's founder, was appointed to the Caliph ul-Masih V in the Fascal Mosque in London in April 2003. In this position, he has visited and opened new mosque, hospitals, schools throughout many European as well as African countries. And of course, he did the same also in Koblenz. Today, he will present his religious community, the Muslim Ahmadiyya Jama'at community. After his presentation, there will be an opportunity for asking questions and or making remarks. I would invite to do it all of you. I'm sure our guest speaker is happy to answer any question you may have. I wish us a memorable event with a lot of interesting news and inspiring discussion. Bevor ich unseren Gastspeaker bitte, das Podium zu erreichen, Herr Oberbürgermeister, wir würden uns über Ihre Worte freuen. The floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Sehr geehrter Herr General Bach, meine sehr geehrten Damen und Herren, als Oberbürgermeister der Stadt Koblenz ist es mir eine große Freude, Sie alle hier willkommen zu heißen. Dear Mr. General Bach, dear Excellencies, being the Lord Mayor of the city of Koblenz, it's a big pleasure to me to say welcome in our city Koblenz here. Ich begrüße sehr, dass die innere Führung die Gelegenheit immer wieder ergreift, sich zu öffnen für die Gesellschaft mit interessanten Diskussionsveranstaltungen, auch auf dem Sektor des interreligiösen Dialogs. Ich erinnere mich an eine wunderbare Ausstellung, die wir hier zu diesem Thema schon einmal hatten. Und es ist einfach gut, dass hier ein Ort der Begegnung auch für wichtige gesellschaftspolitische Themen geworden ist. Dear guests, it's a big pleasure to me to pronounce my certification about the fact that the innere Führung, which means the, well, how would you say it in English, the leading, democratic leading structure in the Bundeswehr, is a platform for the dialogue to opinions of the different interreligious discussions. And so we had several information platforms here, even to the special relationship to our friends being Muslims. In Koblenz, wir haben 52% Katholiken, 22% Protestanten und 26%, die anderen Kirchen oder auch keinen angehören. Und unter den 26% sind nicht wenige Muslime. In Koblenz, we have 52% Roman Catholic persons and 22% being Protestants and 26% people who are belonging to other churches, especially the religions groups of Muslims or being no member of a church. Wir haben gute Kontakte, im Besonderen zu Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at. Ich habe sie vor 3 Jahren kennengelernt und das, glaube ich, kann man hier sagen, schätzen gelernt. We have good connections to that religion group which we have here in Koblenz, and I'm very glad to say that there is some sort of a friendship, because we know those people as very kindly and people who are very democratic and very friendly to other people. Und für uns hier in Koblenz ist es wichtig, dass wir friedlich miteinander leben, so wie es das Grundgesetz vorsieht, dass niemand wegen seiner Herkunft, wegen seiner Religion benachteiligt werden darf. Und das gilt selbstverständlich auch für Muslime. Und wir sind froh über die Tatsache, dass es über Jahre schon in Koblenz keine religiösen, unfriedlichen Auseinandersetzungen gibt und insbesondere, dass es in Koblenz keinen Rechtsextremismus gibt, in dem andere wegen anderer Hautfarbe oder anderer religiöser Überzeugungen verfolgt werden. We are very proud in Koblenz about the fact that we have a very friendly situation between the different religious groups and that the opinion of our Grundgesetz that nobody should be discriminated because of his race or his religious opinions, that this opinion is very strong in Koblenz, and we are proud about the fact that we don't have any fascism groups which are unfriendly against other peoples because of their race or religious opinions. Und so möchte ich meine Freude über die Tatsache zum Ausdruck bringen, dass mit dieser Veranstaltung erneut deutlich wird, dass wir an einem friedlichen Zusammenleben hier interessiert sind, über alle ethnischen und religiösen Gruppen hinweg, und sagen, das genau passt zu Koblenz, das passt zur Bundeswehr und zur inneren Führung. Wir freuen uns, so prominente Gäste hier heute begrüßen zu kommen. Erneut, welcome to Koblenz to you, and we are very expecting to your speech. Thank you very much.
Geben Sie mir die Gelegenheit, einige Worte über die Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at zu sagen, sodass Sie vielleicht ein bisschen mehr Hintergrundwissen haben, mit wem Sie es hier zu tun haben. Your Holiness, as Directors, respected Brigadier General Bach, respected ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased and feel honored to introduce the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at to you today. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community is a dynamic, fast-growing international reform movement within Islam. The Holy Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, had foretold that as with all religions of the world, with the passage of time, the followers of Islam too will deviate from the pure and right path shown by God Almighty. They will read the Quran but not understand its true meaning. They will build huge mosques and populate them, but their mosques will be empty for guidance, and their religious leaders, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, will be the worst creatures under the skies. It is a hadith, a saying of the Holy Prophet. In this time of wars today and crisis throughout the world, God the Almighty will send a reformer who will guide the Muslims towards the true teachings of Islam again. It is a belief of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at that Hadhrat Mirza Ahmad of Qadian, who founded the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at in 1889, is the same reformer and messenger of Allah who was foretold by the Holy Prophet of Islam. Ahmad declared that an aggressive jihad by the sword has no place in Islam. He taught his followers to protect the sanctity of both religion and government by becoming righteous and as well as loyal citizens of their countries. He cautioned against irrational interpretations of Quranic statements. He said that the essence of Islam lies in fulfilling the duties towards God and His creation. Today, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at continues to be an advocate for universal human rights and protections for religious and other minorities. It champions the empowerment and education of women. Its members are among the most law-abiding, educated, and engaged Muslims in the world. Today, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at is represented in 200 countries of the world. It is the only Muslim community in the world of this size that is united at the hand of one leader, who is known as the Khalifa. The Khalifatul Masih is the successor of the promised Messiah, the founder of the movement. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community has now built over 15,000 mosques, over 500 schools, and over 30 hospitals worldwide. It has translated the Holy Quran into over 70 languages. It propagates the true teachings of Islam and the message of peace and tolerance through a 24-hour satellite television channel, MTA, the internet, al-Islam.org, and print media. The Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at in Germany is the oldest Muslim organization here in this country. The first mosques in Germany after the Second World War were built by the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at 1957 in Hamburg and 1959 in Frankfurt. Today, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at has more than 30,000 members, organized members, who are organized into about 250 local communities. The Jama'at has constructed 30 out of 120 purpose-built mosques which are seen in Germany. The members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at are well integrated into German society. The standard of education among our members is quite high. About 45% of the young members have achieved the Abitur, the Hochschulreife. We have a large number of young professionals in our Jama'at and in the fields of medicine, law, natural science, social science, etc. And as you can see, I think today here, some members are here as well who serve in the armed forces, in the police, in the Red Cross, or in the fire brigades, and it is increasing as well. Respected audience, let me now introduce His Holiness Hadhrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, the fifth Khalifa of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at. He was elected, as already told, to his lifelong position on 22nd April 2003, and he serves as the worldwide spiritual and administrative head of an international religious organization with tens of millions of members spread across 200 countries. His Holiness was born on 15 September 1950 in Rabwa, Pakistan. Upon completing his master's degree in agriculture economics in 1977 from the Agricultural University in Faisalabad, Pakistan, His Holiness formally dedicated his life to the service of Islam. From 1977 to 1985, His Holiness served in Ghana, engaged in social, educational, and agricultural development projects. He is accredited with successfully growing wheat on Ghanaian soil for the first time in the nation's history. His Holiness returned to Pakistan in 1985 and served in various senior administrative posts within the community during the next 18 years, including as a chief executive of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Pakistan from 1997 until his election as Khalifa. This should be a few words.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the gracious, ever merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. I would like to first of all take this opportunity to thank all of you for inviting me to your headquarters and giving me the opportunity to say a few words. As the head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, I would like to speak to you about the teachings of Islam. However, this is such a vast topic that to cover it in just one function or in a short time is impossible. And so it is necessary that I limit myself to one aspect of Islam to focus on and speak to you about. Whilst contemplating which facet of Islam I should address, I received a request from the national president of our community here in Germany, ABDULLAH Sahib, in which he asked me to speak about Islam's teachings in relation to love and loyalty to one's nation, and so this helped me make my decision. Thus, I shall now speak to you briefly about certain aspects of Islam's teachings in this regard. It is very easy to simply speak of or hear in the words loyalty and love for one's nation. However, in reality, these few words encompass meanings that are wide-ranging, beautiful, and of tremendous depth. Indeed, to fully comprehend and understand what these words truly mean and what they require is actually very difficult. In any case, in the short time available, I will try to explain Islam's concept of loyalty and love for one's nation. First and foremost, a fundamental principle of Islam is that a person's words and deeds should never manifest any form of double standards or hypocrisy. True loyalty requires a relationship built on sincerity and integrity. It requires that what a person displays on the surface is the same as what lies beneath. In terms of nationality, these principles are of the utmost importance. And so it is essential for a citizen of any country to establish a relationship of genuine loyalty and faithfulness to his nation. It does not matter whether he is a born citizen or whether he gains citizenship later in life, either through immigration or by any other means. Loyalty is a great quality, and the people who have displayed this attribute to the highest degree and best standards are the prophets of God. Their love and bond with God was so strong that in all matters they kept in view His commands and strived to fully implement them no matter what. This illustrated their commitment to Him, to the Almighty God, and their perfect standards of loyalty. And so it is their standards of loyalty that we should use as an example and model. However, before proceeding any further, it is necessary to understand what is actually meant by loyalty. According to the teachings of Islam, the definition and true meaning of loyalty is the unequivocal fulfillment of one's pledges and covenants at every level and under all circumstances, regardless of difficulty. This is the true standard of faithfulness that is required by Islam. At various places in the Holy Quran, Allah has instructed Muslims that they must fulfill their pledges and covenants because they will be held to account by Him over all undertakings that they have made. The Muslims have been instructed to fulfill all covenants, including those made with God Almighty, and also all other pledges they have made according to their respective degrees of importance. In this context, a question that could arise in the minds of the people is that because Muslims claim that God and His religion are of paramount importance to them, thus it follows that their pledge of loyalty to God will be their first priority, and that their covenant to God will be what they value above all else and which they endeavor to fulfill. Therefore, the belief may arise that a Muslim's loyalty to his nation and his pledge to uphold the laws of the land will only be of secondary importance to him, and thus may be willing to sacrifice his pledge to his country on certain occasions. To answer this question, I would firstly like to inform you that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, himself taught that the love for one's nation is part of faith. Thus, sincere patriotism is a requirement of Islam. And so, to truly love God and Islam requires a person to love his nation. It is quite clear, therefore, that there can be no conflict of interest between a person's love for God and love for his country. As love for one's country has been made a part of Islam, it is quite clear that a Muslim must strive to reach the highest standards of loyalty to his chosen country, because that is a means of reaching God and becoming close to Him. And so it is impossible that the love a true Muslim holds for God could ever prove to be an impediment or barrier preventing him from displaying true love and faithfulness towards his country. Unfortunately, we find that in certain countries, religious rights are curtailed or even completely denied. Therefore, another question that can arise is whether those people who are persecuted by their state can still maintain a relationship of love and loyalty to their nation, to their country. With great sadness, I should inform you that these circumstances exist in Pakistan, where the government has actually legislated against our community. And these anti-ahmadiyya laws are practically enforced. Thus, in Pakistan, all Ahmadi Muslims have been officially declared by law to be non-Muslim, and so are forbidden from calling themselves Muslim. The Ahmadis in Pakistan are also prohibited from worshipping in the way of Muslims or acting in accordance with any Islamic practice or custom that could identify them as a Muslim. Thus, the state itself in Pakistan has deprived members of our community from their basic human rights to worship. Bearing in mind this state of affairs, it is quite natural to wonder how, in such circumstances, can Ahmadi Muslims follow the laws of the land? And how can they continue to display loyalty to the nation? Here, I should clarify that where such extreme circumstances exist, then the law and loyalty to the nation become two separate issues. We Ahmadi Muslims believe that religion is a personal matter for every individual to determine for himself, and there should be no compulsion in matters of faith. Thus, where the law comes to interfere with this right, undoubtedly it is an act of great cruelty and persecution. Indeed, such state-sanctioned persecution which has occurred throughout the ages has been condemned by the vast majority. If we glance at the history of Europe, we find that people in this continent have also been the victims of religious persecution. And as a result, many thousands of people had to migrate from one country to the next. All fair-minded historians, governments, and people have deemed this to be persecution and extremely cruel. In such circumstances, Islam advocates that where persecution goes beyond all limits and becomes unbearable, then at that time a person should leave the town or country and migrate to a place where he is free to practice his religion in peace. However, alongside this guidance, Islam also teaches that under no circumstances should any individual take the law into his own hands, and nor should he partake in any schemes or conspiracies against his country. This is an absolutely clear and unequivocal command given by Islam. Despite the grave persecution they face, millions of Ahmadis continue to live in Pakistan. And despite being subjected to such sustained discrimination and cruelty in all aspects of their lives, they continue to keep a relationship of total loyalty and a true allegiance to the country. Whichever field they work in or wherever they are based, they are constantly engaged in trying to help the nation to progress and succeed. For decades, the opponents of Ahmadiyya have tried to allege that Ahmadis are not loyal to Pakistan, but they have never been able to prove this or show any evidence supporting their claims. Instead, the truth is that wherever there has been a need to make any sacrifice for the sake of Pakistan, for the sake of country, Ahmadi Muslims have always stood at the forefront and been constantly ready to make every sacrifice for the sake of the country. Despite themselves being a victim and target of the law, it is Ahmadi Muslims who follow and abide by the laws of the land better than anyone else. This is because they are true Muslims who follow true Islam. Another teaching given by the Holy Quran in relation to loyalty is that people should keep away from all things that are immodest, undesirable, and that form any type of rebellion. A beautiful and distinguishing feature of Islam is that it does not just draw our attention to the final point of culmination, where the consequences are extremely dangerous. Instead, It warns us about all of the smaller issues as well, which act as stepping stones leading mankind to a path paved with danger. Thus, if Islam's guidance is followed properly, then any issue can be resolved at the earliest point before the situation gets out of hand. For instance, there is an issue which can gravely harm a country is financial greed by individuals. Often people get consumed by material desires that spiral beyond all control, and such desires ultimately lead people to act in a disloyal fashion. Thus, such things can ultimately be a cause of treachery against one's country. Let me explain a bit. In Arabic, the word baghiya has been used to describe those people or those acts that cause harm to their countries. It refers to those who take part in wrong practices or who inflict harm on others. It also includes those people who commit fraud and so try to acquire things in an illegal or unjust manner. And it refers to those people who transgress all limits and so cause harm and damage. Islam teaches that people who act in these ways cannot be expected to act in a loyal manner, because loyalty is intertwined with high moral values. Loyalty cannot exist without high moral values, and high moral values cannot exist without loyalty. Whilst it is true that different people may have different views about high moral standards, yet the religion of Islam revolves solely around seeking God's pleasure, and so Muslims are instructed to always act in a manner that is pleasing to Him. In short, according to Islamic teachings, God Almighty has forbidden all forms of treachery or rebellion, whether against one's country or one's government. This is because rebellion or acting against the state is a threat to the peace and security of a nation. Indeed, where internal rebellion or opposition occurs, then it fans the flames of external opposition and encourages outsiders to take advantage of the internal disorder. And so the consequences of disloyalty to your nation can be far-reaching and extreme. Thus, anything that can cause harm to a nation is included in the term baghiya that I have described. Keeping all of this in mind, loyalty to one's nation requires a person to display patience, show morality, and to follow the laws of the land. Generally speaking, in the modern era, most governments are run democratically. Therefore, if a person or group wishes to change the government, then they should do so by following the proper democratic process. They should make themselves heard by voting at the ballot box. And votes should not be cast on the basis of personal preferences or personal interests, but in fact, Islam teaches that a person's vote should be exercised with a sense of loyalty and love for his country. A person's vote should be cast with the betterment of the nation in mind. And so a person should not look at his own priorities and from which candidate or party he can personally benefit. Instead, a person should make his decision in a balanced way, whereby he assesses which candidate or party will help the entire nation progress. The keys to government are a huge trust, and thus they should only be handed over to the party who the voter honestly believes is best suited and most deserving. This is the true Islam, and this is the true loyalty. Indeed, in chapter 4, verse 59 of the Holy Quran, Allah has commanded that a person should only hand over trust to those who are entitled, and that when judging between people, he should make his decision with justice and honesty. Thus, loyalty to one's nation requires that the power of the government should be given to those who are truly entitled to it, so that the nation can progress and come to stand at the forefront amongst the nations of the world. In many parts of the world, we find that members of public take part in strikes and protests against government policies. And furthermore, in certain third world countries, the protesters vandalize or damage possessions and properties belonging either to the state or to private citizens. Though they may claim to be acting out of love, the truth is that such acts have nothing to do with loyalty or love for the nation. And it should be remembered that even where protests or strikes are conducted peacefully without recourse to criminal damage or violence, it still can have a very negative effect. This is because even peaceful protests often result in a loss of millions to the economy of the nation. Under no circumstances can such behavior be considered as an example of loyalty to the nation. A golden principle taught by the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at was that under all circumstances we must always remain obedient to Allah, to the Prophet, and to the rulers of our nation. I should rather say it is the same teaching that is given in the Holy Quran. And so even where a country permits strikes or protests to take place, they should only be conducted to the extent where they do not harm or cause damage to the nation or to the economy. Another question that often arises is whether Muslims can join the military forces of the Western countries. And if they are permitted to join, can they partake in military attacks on Muslim countries? One underlying principle of Islam is that no person should assist in act of cruelty. This key command must always remain at the forefront of any Muslim's mind. Where a Muslim country is attacked because it has itself acted in a cruel and unjust manner and took the first step of aggression, then in such circumstances, the Quran has instructed Muslim governments that they should stop the hand of the oppressor. And this means they should stop the cruelty and endeavor to establish peace. Thus, in such circumstances, to take action as a means to end cruelty is permissible. However, when the nation who transgressed reforms itself and adopts peace, then the country and its people should not be taken advantage of or be subjugated on the basis of false pretenses or excuses. Instead, they should be granted normal state freedom and independence once again. Thus, the military ambition should be to establish peace rather than to fulfill any vested interests. In the same way, Islam permits all countries, whether Muslims or non-Muslims, the right to stop cruelty and oppression. Thus, if necessary, non-Muslim countries can attack Muslim countries to achieve these genuine aims. And Muslims in those non-Muslim countries are allowed to join the armies of those non-Muslim countries and prevent the other country from cruelty. Where such circumstances truly exist, then Muslim soldiers, whichever Western army they may be part of, must follow order and fight if required in order to establish peace. However, if a military makes a decision to attack another nation unjustly and thus become the oppressor, then a Muslim has the option to leave the army, because then he would be assisting cruelty. By taking this decision, it would not mean that he is being disloyal to his country. In fact, in such circumstances, loyalty to his country would demand that he should take such a step and counsel his own government that they should not allow themselves to fall to the same depths as those unjust governments and nations that act in a cruel way. However, if joining the army is compulsory and there is no way to leave, but his conscience is not clear, then the Muslim should leave the country, but cannot raise voice against the law of the land. He should leave because a Muslim is not permitted to live in a country as a citizen, whilst at the same time acting against the nation or siding with the opposition or the enemies. Thus, these are just a few aspects of Islamic teachings which guide all true Muslims towards the real requirements of loyalty and love for one's country. In the time available, I have only been able to briefly touch upon this topic. And so, in conclusion, I would like to say that today we observe that the world has become a global village. Mankind has become very closely knit together. The people of all nations, religions, and cultures are found in all countries. And so this requires that the leaders of every nation should consider and respect the feelings and sentiments of all people. The leaders and their governments should strive to create laws that foster an environment and spirit of truth and justice, rather than making laws that are a means of causing distress and frustration to the people. Injustices and cruelties should be eliminated, and instead we should strive for true justice. And the best way to do this is that the world should come to recognize his Creator. Every form of loyalty should be linked to loyalty with God. If this occurs, then we will come to witness with our own eyes that the very highest standards of loyalty will be established by the people of all countries, and new avenues leading us to peace and security will open throughout the world. Before ending, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you once again for inviting me today and for listening to what I have said. May God bless you all, and may God bless Germany. Thank you very much. Should I stand here for a while, or?
No. Thank you very much. Excellent.
If they want to ask anything.
Okay. Thank you very much for the interesting lecture and also the thoughts. I think a lot of our ideas are common. And therefore also thank you for readiness to answer all the questions to your lecture, all the other questions. Meine Damen und Herren, Sie haben die Chance, jetzt Ihre Fragen, Ihre Anmerkungen zu stellen. Sollte jemand sagen, er braucht Unterstützung, First Lieutenant Genevieve Murphy wird Sie dann möglicherweise unterstützen. Bei Englisch. Bitte einfach die Mikrofone nutzen und vielleicht sich mit einem Satz selbst kurz vorstellen. Dann würde ich die erste Frage bitten. Okay, wir brauchen einen Eisbrecher.
Holiness, thanks for your speech. Many of these points you mentioned moves me throughout the last years. I'm responsible within the Center of Innere Führung for the coordination side of cross-cultural or intercultural competence. And some weeks I sat together with Mr. WAGISHAUSER in Frankfurt. We discussed about the situation of the Ahmadiyya in Germany. And my question more or less is about the current situation of the Ahmadiyya in Germany, about the question if this community is officially accepted, because this question is connected also with the question if it is possible to install something like an imam in the federal armed forces. It is not impossible, but at the moment it is not. It don't works because there is no official counterpart, something like this. So my question is about the current situation of the official acceptance of the Ahmadiyya in Germany. That's the point.
What do you mean by official accepted? Yeah. If it is, Ahmadis who are living here for a long time and have been granted the right of nationality of this country, and those Ahmadis who are born here, they are by birth national of this country, and those Ahmadis who are the natives of this country, like ABDULLAH WAGISHAUSER, they are all national of this country. So they should be officially accepted as the civilian of this country, as a citizen of this country. So if you mean that Jama'at Ahmadiyya as a religion has been officially accepted, this is something which takes the legal side of it. If we Ahmadis are being persecuted, and are being persecuted, of course, in Pakistan, and they migrated from Pakistan to Germany, and the German government has accepted Ahmadis because of this persecution. That means they think that as a religion we are on our firm footing, and our rights are being denied in Pakistan, so that they should accept it here. So if you mean that because of the majority of other Muslim sects who do not like us, therefore imams of Ahmadis cannot be appointed in any of the government institution or the armed forces, then it is up to you whether justice is being done or not. I cannot answer this question. It is up to your government who answer that if they are not giving the due right to Ahmadis with regards to their religious practices, then, or they are under the influence of other Muslims who have majority. So it is the government who should consider that justice should be done. And how can it be done? It is up to you.
Thanks a lot. I'd like to put the finger on this critical point because it's not so easy as you know. The question
yes.
Only the armed forces are not responsible.
Right, yeah, I know you are not responsible, but it's the government. This is why I didn't say armed forces.
Okay. Thanks.
Do you have any information? Do you have any information if and how many members of your religious community are members in the German Joint Army? And are there any obstacles to join our army?
I don't have any information, but it is up to the members of the community whichever profession they choose to have. And I can see one member sitting here. He's an Ahmadi, and he's the member of armed forces. And I hope he's a very much loyal person.
Lieutenant, geht's? Here. Lieutenant Colonel Wilke from the Center Innere Führung. My question is, as far as I understand this denomination, the leader is already of Pakistan origin. Is it mandatory, or could you imagine that in 1 year your successor will be of French or German or British origin?
It is not necessary, you know. The leader or the Khalifa is elected by the members of the community, right? And there's an electoral college for it. And among the members of the electoral college, there are the heads of, the national heads of the community all across the world, and some missionaries, and some other officials as well. So they elect the Khalifa or the leader of the community. And there is no restriction that Khalifa must be elected from among Pakistani Ahmadi members, right? A time may come, any time, that the Khalifa can be from Africa, any African or any European or anybody else. So it is up to the wish of Allah, who, according to our belief, puts in the heart of the members of the electoral college that whom should you vote. And this is what has been happening. And there are so many people who can give you their personal experiences about this one, this thing. So, there's anyway, by law, by rules and regulations, there is no restriction. Right? Yes.
Colonel Godfrey, Your Excellency, thank you very much for your speech. Your words really touched me. I have a question, about your religious community. What are your strategic goals, objectives, if you look more upstream into the future?
Strategic goals? The founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, whom we consider to be and according to his claim as well, of course, the promised Messiah and the reformer of this age. He says he has come for two main purposes. One, to bring man closer to his Creator. Second, to make the people, human beings, realize rights they owe to other person. So there are two types of main duties. One, to discharge your duties towards God, and second, to discharge your duties towards your fellow being. And for this, we are not only preaching Islam, but we are actually doing some practical work in some countries where we have opened our hospitals, clinics, schools, and there's a lot of other humanitarian work is being done. Even in Africa, in remote parts of Africa, we have started a new project of developing model villages where we are providing them with the electricity, solar energy electricity, water, potable water, because in Africa, you know, if you have been there, that people have to walk miles and miles to fetch a bucket of water. So to give them potable water here at their doorstep, there at their doorstep, and some pavements, some greenhouses were also put up there to have the villagers to get their fresh vegetables, or just to get themselves involved in some activities. And then community center. So that model village contains so many things. And we have started this project in many of the African countries now. So and this is being done not only in the Ahmadi community villages. We are providing this help and services on humanitarian grounds without any discrimination of caste, creed, and religion. So there are two main purposes for which we are working. Right?
Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, my name is Stefan Jurkowitz. As a Protestant military dean in the Center of Civic Education and Leadership, I do have some insights and experiences according to so-called ecumenical procedures, processes, and contexts inside the Christian world. Can you give me some experiences and insights about the status quo of inner Islamic so-called ecumenical contexts, procedures, and aims? Thank you very much.
Islamic teachings are very open, written in the Holy Quran. And there are so many verses in the Holy Quran which ask you that you, as I have said already, that you must discharge your duties you owe towards God. And you must discharge your duties towards human beings, even to the whole of the creation of God. You must discharge your duties towards orphans, to deprived people, to there are so many things even. So I don't know what specific thing is in your mind. What do you want me to explain?
Are there any panels, either national-wide or international, where different Islamic leaders meet and discuss their common things and their differences?
You know, as it was explained earlier by our national president, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is not widely accepted by the mainstream or so-called orthodox Muslim communities, right? This is why, and it was the prophecy of the Prophet of Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the time will come when people would not be practicing the true teachings of Islam. And at that time, a promised person will come. And we believe that that person has come in the person of Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian to reform the distorted Islamic teachings and to other people as well. So I can only say that we are now trying to bring before the public and practicing and preaching these true teachings of Islam. And for that, we always invite other, not only Muslims, but other religious groups as well to come to the point which are common between us, and so that we can serve the humanity or on humanitarian grounds. Right?
To your visit to the center in Führung and also to your lecture, and I hope we will get your lecture for studying that. I will give you a picture of the old city of Koblenz. We are also ambassador of Koblenz, but not of the modern Koblenz, but more Koblenz as was in former times in the Middle Ages.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
When our beloved Huzoor arrives, we forget all else. We always endeavor our utmost to be as near as possible to Huzoor, to listen to his speeches, act upon them, and thus make our lives successful. We are happy that just as you extended hospitality to us, today, in the same way, we have the good fortune of being enabled to extend hospitality to Huzoor.
Vor 2 Jahren im Rathaus waren, dass wir diese Gastfreundschaft mal wieder zurückgeben konnten. Das ist eine beeindruckende.
He possesses an influential personality. I am also aware that he bears a great responsibility of the Jama'at on his shoulders.
Für die Gemeinde und diese Gemeinde.
May God, the Almighty, grant him the ability to fulfill this responsibility. I listened to his address on loyalty to one's nation and country very carefully and have understood it clearly. It is also my wish to adopt such loyalty. Today, the requirements of societal and religious peace and loyalty to one's country that he elucidated in light of the teachings of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at are absolutely crucial. I was extremely pleased to learn that brotherhood, loyalty and supporting our nation are prominent features of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at. I was deeply impressed by his personality. His explanation of loyalty to one's country was excellent.